Have you ever woken up one morning and realized something felt different? Not pain, not illness, but a quiet loss of power, like a part of you isn't responding the way it used to. Most men don't talk about it, but I've seen that look in their eyes far too many times. It's the fear that maybe manhood is fading. The truth is, it doesn't happen overnight. Erections don't just vanish out of nowhere. They fade slowly as the muscles and blood vessels inside the penis lose oxygen strength and elasticity bit by bit, month after month. And here's what shocks most people. Those tissues are no different from any other muscles in your body. If you stop using them, they weaken. If you stop circulating blood through them, they stiffen. I've seen men blame stress hormones, even their partners, but in reality, the biggest reason for decline is inactivity. The penis, like your heart or your legs, needs movement, needs training to stay alive. When it's ignored, it begins to age faster than the rest of you. That's why I often tell my patients, you train your arms, your chest, even your abs. But the one muscle that defines your confidence, your performance, and your identity is usually left behind. And that's the reason why in this video, I want to show you something most men have never been told how to safely, naturally, and scientifically train the part of your body that keeps you feeling strong, responsive, and fully alive. Because losing your edge isn't destiny, it's a signal. And once you learn how to listen to it, you can get that strength back faster than you think. Most men believe erections start in the bedroom, but in reality, they start in the bloodstream. Every firm, confident erection is simply a sign of healthy circulation and oxygen-rich muscle fibers inside the penis. That's not something you feel happening until one day you do. When blood flow starts to weaken, the change is subtle at first, softer mornings, slower response, less control. It's the body's whisper before it becomes a scream. I've seen this pattern hundreds of times in my practice. Men come in worried about their hormones or asking for testosterone tests when the real issue isn't hormonal at all, it's vascular. Studies from the American Journal of Cardiology show that erectile dysfunction often appears 3 to 5 years before a heart attack. That means your penis is the body's early warning system, the first alarm bell that your circulation needs help. Think of the erectile tissue like a sponge made of smooth muscle fibers. When you're aroused, your brain releases nitric oxide, a chemical messenger that tells those muscles to relax. The arteries open, blood floods in, and tiny veins at the base clamp shut to trap it there. The result? Fullness pressure, confidence. But if that process isn't happening regularly, those fibers start to dry out and stiffen. It's the same principle as leaving a rubber band stretched too long. It loses elasticity. And here's the scary part. Once that stiffness turns into micro scarring, or what doctors call fibrosis, the tissue can't expand the same way again. Erections become weaker, less frequent, and eventually unreliable. But here's the hopeful truth. This decline is not irreversible. I've seen men in their 60s and 70s rebuild responsiveness by restoring blood flow and re-oxygenating those tissues. The key is understanding that the penis isn't just a passenger. It's a living muscle that responds to training. That's why I often tell my patients, you don't need more pills, you need circulation. Pills may trigger temporary blood flow, but training keeps that flow alive. And once you grasp this, everything changes, because the real question isn't whether your body can respond, it's whether you're giving it the chance to. But here's the twist. Most men never realize, and it's the biggest mistake I see in my clinic every week. It's what happens when you rely solely on spontaneous erections and assume that's enough exercise for your penis. Let's talk about why that's one of the most damaging myths out there. You'd be surprised how many men tell me I still get morning wood, so I must be fine. I usually smile because I understand the comfort that sentence brings, but then I have to gently break the truth, relying on spontaneous or nighttime erections. Alone is like trusting that rain will water your garden forever. Sooner or later, the weather changes. And if you don't have a plan to keep the soil alive, it dries up. In healthy men, those nighttime erections serve a biological purpose. They oxygenate the smooth muscle inside the penis, keeping the fibers elastic and responsive. But as stress rises, sleep shortens, or blood pressure climbs, those automatic erections quietly fade. You don't notice it right away. It's subtle, like a phone battery that suddenly starts losing power faster each day. Before long, you realize you're running on half charge. Research from the University of Wisconsin showed that men who lose their nocturnal erections for 6 months or more are 4 times more likely to develop early-stage erectile dysfunction. Why? Because without those oxygen waves, the tissue literally suffocates. The blood vessels narrow, collagen replaces muscle, and the penis becomes less able to expand. It's not about desire, it's about maintenance. That's why I often tell my patients, if nature slows down, you have to step in. And this is where a simple but powerful tool comes in the vacuum erection device, or what I call the circulation trainer. When used correctly, it draws fresh, oxygen-rich blood into the penis, gently stretching and feeding those tissues that have been neglected. The key word here is gently. You're not trying to inflate a balloon, you're retraining a muscle. I guide most men to do slow intervals pump until comfortably full hold for 30 to 60 seconds release, and repeat for about 10 minutes. Think of it as a blood flow workout, not a size experiment. Over time, this routine can help reawaken those natural erections and strengthen the very foundation of performance. And here's where I always pause in my sessions, because almost every man asks the same question: if I do this, does it mean I'll get bigger? That's when I remind them the goal isn't more inches. The goal is more function, firmer, faster, longer-lasting confidence. When that happens, the numbers don't matter anymore because you'll feel the difference every time. But here's the catch, and it's a painful one. Some men take this tool, push it too far, and end up doing more harm than good. They think pressure equals progress, when in fact it's the fastest way to destroy the very tissue they're trying to protect. And that brings us to the second big mistake I see every week. One that can silently undo all your hard work if you don't know this next part. This is the part where I usually take a deep breath because I've seen far too many men hurt themselves chasing the wrong idea. They believe that if a little pressure works, more must be better. I've seen patients pump until they bruise, convinced that pain means growth, but biology doesn't work that way. It never has. Think about it like this: if you went to the gym and tore your muscles every session without rest, you wouldn't get stronger, you'd get injured. The penis is built of delicate, smooth muscle and tiny blood vessels. They need oxygen and gentle tension, not trauma. The moment you push past the comfort zone into pain, microvessels rupture, scar tissue forms, and instead of expansion, you get restriction. A 2022 study from the International Journal of Impotence Research found that excessive vacuum pressure increased the risk of fibrosis by 47%. That's nearly half of men who use the device incorrectly, ending up with worse function than when they started. It's heartbreaking because all of it is preventable with the right approach: slow, steady, controlled. That's why I tell my patients, treat it like physical therapy, not a powerlifting contest. You're retraining blood flow, not testing limits. Start slow. Pump gently to a full but comfortable state. Hold for 30 to 60 seconds, then release, rest a few seconds, repeat. 10 minutes, 3 to 5 days a week. That's it. It's consistency, not intensity, that rebuilds confidence. And when done right, the results are more than physical. Men tell me their morning erections return, their energy improves, even their mood lifts. It's not magic, it's physiology. Fresh blood carries oxygen, nitric oxide, and nutrients that rejuvenate the tissue. Over time, that routine trains your body to remember what strong performance feels like again. Still, I know what some of you might be thinking right now. Okay, I can do that. But what if my lifestyle is already sabotaging all this progress without me realizing it? You'd be shocked how often that's the real problem. Not the exercise, not the age, but the everyday habits that quietly choke circulation and drain testosterone. And that's exactly what I want to reveal next. The hidden lifestyle mistakes that silently undo months of hard work, even in men who are trying to do everything right. Here's the truth that catches almost every man off guard. You can use every device, every supplement, every trick out there, but if your lifestyle is draining your circulation and hormones, it's like trying to pump air into a leaking tire. You'll never hold pressure for long. I've met patients who followed every instruction perfectly, 10-minute sessions, proper pressure, perfect technique, and still wondered why their progress stalled. When we ran their tests, the problem wasn't below the belt, it was in their arteries, their blood sugar, their sleep, their stress. Erections are a mirror of the whole body, not an isolated event. Let's break that down. Smoking constricts blood vessels and damages the inner lining called the endothelium, the same tissue responsible for releasing nitric oxide. Without nitric oxide, blood can't rush in efficiently, no matter how healthy your testosterone is. Alcohol, especially in excess, lowers that same testosterone and dehydrates your cells. And belly fat. It doesn't just sit there. It converts testosterone into estrogen through an enzyme called aromatase. That means the more visceral fat you carry, the more your hormones shift out of balance. Research from Harvard School of Public Health found that men with a waist circumference over 40 inches were twice as likely to experience erectile dysfunction as those under 32 inches. That's not coincidence, that's physiology. High blood pressure, poor sleep, heavy drinking, late night screens, all of it constricts the very pathways your penis depends on. That's why I tell my patients start with the basics. Walk 30 minutes most days. Lift something heavier than your phone twice a week. Eat real food, color, fiber, protein, and hydrate like your life depends on it, because it does. Sleep at least 7 hours. That's when your body naturally rebuilds testosterone and repairs your vascular lining. And if you smoke, quit. There's no hack that can undo what cigarettes do to your arteries. Once men make those changes, something incredible happens. Their energy rises, their morning erections return, and their self-belief follows. It's not vanity, it's biology responding to better input. And when that shift begins, the penis gym suddenly becomes far more effective, because now you're working with your body, not against it. But there's one more trap I have to warn you about, and this one is emotional. It's the reason so many men give up right when they're about to see progress. They focus on the wrong goal. They chase size, not strength. And that single mindset mistake can destroy everything you've worked for. Let me show you why next. This is the part that breaks my heart the most, because it's the one mistake that turns progress into disappointment. After weeks of training, after fixing their diet, improving sleep, and feeling better than they have in years, some men still look at me and ask, "So, will this make me bigger?" Every time I hear that, I know we need to pause, because that question reveals something deeper than curiosity. It's frustration, insecurity, and pressure that society has quietly placed on men for decades. Somewhere along the line, the definition of masculinity was reduced to a measurement, But let me tell you what I tell my patients every single week. The real measure of a man is function, not inches. From a medical standpoint, chasing permanent enlargement through aggressive methods is one of the fastest ways to cause damage. Overstretching the erectile tissue or using unsafe devices can lead to micro tears, nerve trauma, and long-term sensitivity loss. I once treated a 52-year-old patient who had been following an online growth routine. He came to me not with a larger penis, but with chronic pain and weakened erections. What he didn't realize was that every attempt to stretch beyond nature's limit was replacing flexible muscle with rigid scar tissue. Here's the truth. The most powerful result of this training isn't visible in a mirror. It's in performance, stamina, and confidence. When circulation improves and the smooth muscle fibers inside the penis regain elasticity, erections become firmer, faster, and more reliable. Partners notice the difference. You notice the difference, and that confidence radiates into every area of your life, from intimacy to posture, to the way you carry yourself in a room. Science backs this up. A 2023 clinical review from the Journal of Sexual Medicine showed that men who focused on function-based rehabilitation, blood flow, pelvic floor activation, and vascular conditioning reported a 68% improvement in erectile reliability within 8 weeks. Compare that to only 12% among those chasing size-based routines. That's the difference between transformation and frustration. So when I guide men through this process, I remind them this is not about becoming someone else. It's about restoring the version of yourself that feels alive, capable, and connected again. The goal isn't more inches, it's more confidence, more control, more freedom. And when you reach that point, you realize something profound. You were never broken, you were simply out of training. Now that you understand how to correct these 4 mistakes, the next question becomes, how do you put it all together into one clear weekly plan that rebuilds both performance and confidence safely? That's exactly what I'll walk you through next. The proven penis gym routine that has helped hundreds of my patients reignite their vitality naturally and consistently. By now you understand that erections aren't random. They're a reflection of blood flow, muscle tone, and consistency. So let's talk about what I call the penis gym routine. It's simple, structured, and realistic for any man, no matter his age or experience, because this isn't about pushing harder, it's about training smarter. Here's what I recommend to most of my patients: 3 to 5 sessions per week, 10 minutes each. That's all it takes. Start by using the vacuum device. Slowly pump until you reach a comfortable full erection, not pain. Hold it for about 30 to 60 seconds, then release. Rest briefly and repeat the process several times. Think of each repetition as a rep for your blood flow, not your ego. You're retraining your body to move blood, efficiently rebuild elasticity, and reawaken the nerves that control performance. During those rest periods, I like to add pelvic floor contractions, what most people know as Kegels. Squeeze the muscles you'd use to stop urination. Hold for 3 seconds, then relax for 3 seconds. Do 5 to 10 reps between pumping intervals. This strengthens the base of your erections, the foundation that helps you maintain control and endurance. Outside the device, your daily habits become your silent allies. Walk 30 minutes a day to keep the arteries active. Do 2 strength workouts a week to boost testosterone. Hydrate well, sleep deeply, and keep stress in check, because cortisol is the quiet killer of sexual performance. And if your doctor approves, you can add a natural nitric oxide booster like L-citrulline from watermelon extract or beetroot powder. Studies have shown it enhances blood vessel dilation and oxygen delivery, making each training session more effective. But remember, supplements should support the process, not replace it. One of my favorite parts of this journey is seeing men transform from anxious and uncertain to confident and energized. I remember a 67-year-old patient who told me he felt too old to start. 3 months later, he walked in smiling, saying his morning erections had returned, and so had his marriage. That moment reminded me why this work matters. It's not just about function. It's about freedom, connection, and identity. So as you begin your own routine, treat it like a commitment to yourself, not as a task, but as a declaration that you're not done yet. 10 minutes a day to protect decades of confidence is a trade every man should be willing to make. And if you think this sounds too simple to work, just wait. Because in the final part, I'll share the truth. I tell every patient who's afraid it's too late, why age is not the enemy, and how your body can still rebuild strength no matter where you start. So let's take a deep breath and bring this all together. What you've learned today isn't just about the body. It's about taking back control of your confidence, your health, and your freedom. Erections are not random. They are the result of oxygen circulation and consistency. And the truth is, you can retrain them at any age. If there's one thing I want you to remember, it's this: use it or lose it, but use it wisely. Train gently, stay consistent, live, clean, and treat your body with the same respect you once gave your ambition. Because your health, your strength, and your manhood are worth protecting. I've seen men in their 70s who completely restored their performance simply because they decided to start not with fear, not with shame, but with knowledge and discipline. And if they can do it, you can too. So please take care of yourself. Keep your blood moving, keep your habits clean, and never stop believing that improvement is possible, because it is. Before you go, do me one favor: save this video so you can come back to the routine anytime. Subscribe and turn on the notification bell, because every week I share new science-based insights to help you stay strong, confident, and healthy as a man. And tell me in the comments, what's one healthy habit you'll start this week? Walking more, sleeping better, I'd love to know. Remember, aging doesn't have to mean decline. With the right knowledge and small daily actions, your best years of strength and intimacy can still be ahead of you. Take care of your health, because you are absolutely worth it.